It's quite a curveball, isn't it? A brand we once knew for, high-end innovation, HTC,
Yeah.
is now making a splash in the ultra-budget market. So today, we're diving deep into their Wildfire E5 Plus.
hmm
This is a device that you, our listener, brought to our attention with a fantastic, detailed analysis.
Yeah, great source material.
So our mission here is to genuinely unpack this, find out what truly matters, what unexpected turns HTC has taken. We're here to give you that shortcut to being, fully informed about HTC's latest offering.
And before we get too far, let's maybe clear up a potential point of confusion right away.
Okay.
Your initial query mentioned an E4 Plus with a 6.74-inch display and a 50-megapixel camera.
Right, I remember that.
What's interesting here is that while there are other similarly named models out there, like various E4 Plus variants, they actually have conflicting specs.
Oh, like what?
Well, some reports show a smaller, like 5.59-inch screen with a 13-megapixel camera. Others a 6.52-inch with a 13-megapixel plus 5-megapixel setup, and often with much later launch dates, like August or even December 2025, which is confusing.
So, just for absolute clarity then, the device that precisely matches your description, that 6.74-inch display, the 50-megapixel camera,
Mm-hmm.
that is definitively the HTC Wildfire E5 Plus. This model officially launched back in March of 2025.
Exactly.
It's important we make that distinction because, we want to ensure we're looking at the exact device you're interested in without getting sidetracked by those other variants.
Absolutely. Spot on. And if we sort of zoom out to the bigger picture, this specific device, the E5 Plus, it's a perfect example of HTC's strategic recalibration.
Recalibration, okay.
Yeah, after transferring a significant part of their mobile division over to Google, HTC's approach to the smartphone market, particularly with its budget-friendly Wildfire series, now heavily relies on original design manufacturer, or ODM, partnerships.
Okay, let's unpack that. ODM. What exactly does that mean for us, the consumers? Because that sounds like a pretty big shift in how they do business.
Oh, it's a massive shift. The critical insight here for you, the consumer, is this. While it carries the familiar HTC brand,
Right, the logo we know.
the core design and manufacturing are actually outsourced to external companies. This lets HTC keep a presence in the, fiercely competitive entry-level segment by leveraging external manufacturing capabilities and focusing on brand licensing.
Okay.
So you're essentially getting let's say, a generic device wearing an HTC label. Don't expect the unique features or the deep software optimizations that HTC was once famous for.
Right, the Sense UI days are long gone in this tier.
Exactly. The brand is now largely just a label for outsourced hardware in this budget space.
So it's almost like a franchise model for phones now, rather than that deep in-house innovation.
Very interesting. And who are they trying to reach with this strategy? Who's the target?
This model is primarily aimed squarely at cost-sensitive markets. We're talking particularly Southeast Asia.
Makes sense.
We're looking at an aggressive price point, roughly 93 to 95 USD for the 6GB RAM, 128 GB storage configuration.
Wow, that is aggressive. Yeah. Its initial launch was in Vietnam back in March 2025, which really highlights its focus on extreme affordability for emerging economies.
Okay, beyond the strategy, let's get hands-on. Or at least, imagine getting hands-on. What does this sub-$100 phone actually look and feel like?
Well, it features a pretty clean contemporary design that's characterized by a flat frame and those distinct dual-round camera modules on the back. Pretty common look these days.
Yeah, I've seen that style around. Colors?
You'll find it with blue and black. In terms of dimensions, it's a fairly substantial phone, 168.4 by 77.9 by 9.5 millimeters, and it weighs 218 grams.
So not tiny. And the build. Plastic, fantastic.
Pretty much, yeah. As you'd expect for this price point, the construction prioritizes durability over, let's say, a premium feel. It has a glass front, but a plastic back and a plastic frame.
Right.
No premium glass sandwich here. This phone's probably ready for a tumble or two, which honestly might actually be a feature for its target market.
Ah, good point. Okay, all right, shifting to the display. We're looking at a 6.74-inch HD plus IPS LCD. It's got what's called a water drop screen. That's the little teardrop notch for the front camera. Now, for a budget phone, that 90 hertz refresh rate really jumped out at me. What's your immediate reaction seeing that in this price segment?
My immediate reaction is that, 90 hertz is a significant selling point in this category. It really does offer a much smoother visual experience.
Right, scrolling feels better.
Exactly. Especially when you're scrolling through social media feeds or just navigating the UI, compared to the standard 60 hertz displays you often find. It gives an immediate sense of fluidity and responsiveness that's a nice surprise.
I agree that 90 hertz is a real win. But how much does that smoothness truly matter when the underlying resolution is still only HD plus on such a large panel? Does one kind of compromise the other?
That's a fair question, and yeah, that's where the compromise comes in. While the 90 hertz makes things feel smooth, the HT Plus resolution, that's 720 by 1600 pixels, on a 6.74-inch screen results in a relatively lower pixel density. We're talking around 260 ppi.
Okay, so not super sharp.
Right. It means that text and images may not be as crisp or detailed as on devices with higher resolutions. It's a really common trade-off manufacturers make down here.
So they prioritize that smooth feel and big screen for the immediate appeal.
Precisely. They prioritize that immediate smooth feeling and a large screen size for eye-catching appeal while managing costs by keeping the resolution lower. For comparison, a competitor like the Xiaomi Redmi 13C shares a very similar display setup, 6.74 inches, 720 by 1600, 90 hertz, and 260 ppi.
Interesting.
It also boasts an 83.9% screen-to-body ratio, which is decent for a reasonably immersive view, despite the notch.
Okay, with the screen covered, let's turn our focus to how this phone captures the world. What about the camera system on this budget device?
All right, cameras.
The Wildfire E5 Plus comes with a dual rear camera system, a 50-megapixel primary sensor with autofocus and a wide f1.8 aperture. Sounds good so far. And then a 2-megapixel secondary sensor. Okay, what's the deal with that 2MP sensor? Is it actually useful for anything?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, or maybe the $90 question here. A key takeaway is that while the 50-megapixel main camera is a strong marketing point,
Definitely. Big number.
that 2-megapixel secondary sensor, usually with fixed focus, often has very limited functional utility. Industry analysis, suggest these low-res secondary lenses are frequently included more for marketing appeal or just to fulfill a dual camera aesthetic.
Looks better to have two lenses.
Exactly, than for any genuine photographic enhancement. So don't let the dual camera spec fool you. Your actual photo quality will almost entirely depend on the performance of that 50-megapixel main sensor.
Got it. So set expectations accordingly there. And for selfies and video calls, what's up front?
Up front, there's a 16-megapixel camera. Its fixed focus f2.2 aperture includes popular features like face detection, AI face unlock, and of course a beauty mode.
Standard stuff. Video.
As for video, the rear camera can record 1080p video at 30 frames per second. The front, however, is limited to 720p at 30 fps.
Okay.
HTC also mentions things like AI enhancement and AI scene recognition for the main camera, which, aim to optimize settings automatically.
So given all that, what kind of quality can we realistically expect from this camera system in, real-world use?
Well, the anticipated performance is adequate. Adequate for casual photography, especially in good light, bright daylight.
Okay.
User feedback suggests it performs commendably for the price, which basically means it meets expectations within its budget class. It's not trying to compete with higher-end smartphone cameras.
Right. It's a solid performer for everyday snaps, not for winning photo contests.
Exactly. Not groundbreaking photography.
Okay, let's talk about the engine driving this phone. The Unisoc T606 chipset. It's an octa-core processor, basically an entry-level engine, right? Designed for everyday tasks, not for power users.
Yeah.
Built on a 12-millimeter process. What's the performance reality for the average user?
Yeah, you summed it up well. This entry-level system on chip, the T606, it's efficient for routine daily operations. Think web browsing, social media, email, calls, texts.
The basics.
The basics. However, it is relatively underpowered for anything computationally intensive, demanding multitasking, graphically rich gaming. It's going to struggle there.
Right.
While the generous 6 GB of RAM, which is generous for its price point, certainly helps maintain responsiveness during light usage.
Keeps things feeling okay for a bit longer.
Yeah, it helps, but it can't fundamentally overcome the inherent processing limitations of the chip itself for more rigorous tasks.
But still, 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of internal storage, expandable up to 256 GB via microSD. That's pretty solid for this price, isn't it? You don't always see that combination down here.
You're absolutely right. That's a definite plus. That's a very generous allocation for an ultra-budget device. It provides ample space and decent multitasking capabilities for typical light usage. It's a strong point for its price, no doubt.
And it runs Android 14 right out of the box, which is great for being relatively up-to-date initially, but what about future updates? That's always the big question mark for budget phones, especially with this ODM model you mentioned.
Yeah, and this brings up a really critical point about longevity. HTC hasn't given us any firm commitments on how many software updates the Wildfire E5 Plus will actually get, or how often they'll arrive.
So it might get Android 14, and that's it. Or maybe
Yeah.
some security patches.
It's unclear. This lack of a defined update policy is unfortunately quite common with budget-oriented phones, particularly those developed through these ODM partnerships. It could potentially affect the device's functional lifespan and, importantly, its security posture over time compared to phones with more transparent and extended update commitments.
That's a big consideration for keeping a phone long term. Okay, switching gears to battery life and connectivity, the 5,000 milliamp non-removable battery, that sounds like a definite highlight here. That's a pretty big battery.
It is indeed a significant selling point. It really positions the device for extended usage throughout the day.
Now, it mentions fast charging, but what does that actually mean here? Are we talking super speedy?
Well, fast charging is mentioned, but the specs point to 5V2A, which suggests standard 10W charging speeds, not the rapid charging we see on more expensive phones. So, yes, it's another common trade-off to keep costs down in this segment. It'll take a while to fill that big battery.
Okay, standard speeds. But combine that large 5,000 milliamp battery with the lower power demands of the HD Plus display and that, well, efficient if not powerful Unisoc T606 chipset. You're looking at exceptional endurance, aren't you?
That's exactly right. It's expected to comfortably last a full day, maybe even stretch into 2 days for lighter users on a single charge.
Wow.
The estimated talk times are really impressive. 50 hours on 2G, 38 hours on 3G, and 20 hours on 4G. Standby time is quoted at 500 hours. This extended operational time is a huge benefit for users prioritizing uptime above all else.
Definitely. And speaking of those core components, given what we've seen so far, what do you think stands out most for a user prioritizing just those everyday essentials?
For me, echoing what you said earlier, it's that combination. The massive battery life paired with a generous RAM and storage for the price.
Yeah.
Those are often the first things to get cut severely in this budget tier. So seeing them here is a real win for the average user just looking for a reliable daily driver that lasts.
Agreed. Now, for connectivity, it has dual nano SIM support with 4G LTE and VoLTE, that's voice over LTE, for clearer calls, which is good.
Standard but essential.
But here's a crucial missing feature for some, maybe looking ahead. No 5G.
That's a key point to flag. As 5G networks continue to expand, and some budget competitors do start integrating 5G.
Right, it's creeping downwards in price.
Its absence could become a competitive disadvantage.
Yeah.
It limits the device's long-term network compatibility and access to potentially faster data speeds down the line.
What else does it offer in terms of connections and features? Wi-Fi, Bluetooth?
It includes dual-band Wi-Fi, ABNIAC, which is good,
Mhm.
Bluetooth 5.0, you get a USB Type-C 2.0 port, thankfully Type-C, with OTG functionality. On the go. Means you can connect accessories like a USB drive directly, which can be handy.
Okay.
And a welcome sight for many, the retention of the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack.
Hooray for the headphone jack. Security?
For security, you get both options. A side-mounted fingerprint sensor and AI facial recognition. Pretty standard setup there.
Okay. However, a consistent omission for HTC's budget line, something important for many these days, is NFC, right? Near-field communication.
Correct. No NFC.
That's a big one for contactless payments and quick pairing these days. So that's another potentially significant missing feature to consider for modern interactions.
You're absolutely right. While the biometrics are solid for the price, the absence of NFC is a notable functional gap. It's increasingly integral for contactless payments, transit passes, quick device pairing.
Yeah, tap to pay is huge.
It is. While not everyone prioritizes it, its omission definitely puts the device at a disadvantage compared to some rivals that do manage to include it, even at this low price sometimes.
Anything else sensor-wise?
Just the basics.
Mhm.
Ambient light, proximity, gravity, which is the accelerometer,
Mhm.
and a compass.
Okay, so if we step back and look at the competitive landscape, the Wildfire E5 Plus is jumping into a fiercely competitive sub-$100 segment. You mentioned rivals like the Infinix Smart 8 Plus, Xiaomi Redmi 13C, maybe some budget Samsung A-series model.
Exactly. It's a crowded space.
So stacking it up, what are its big competitive advantages and, conversely, its key compromises?
Well, it certainly offers a compelling set of specifications for its price point. Its strengths are clearly that large 6.74-inch 90 hertz display,
The smoothness.
the 50 megapixel main camera, on paper at least, the substantial 5,000 milliamp battery, and that relatively generous 6 GB RAM with 128 GB storage. Plus, running Android 14 out of the box is a positive. These are genuine draws for under $100.
It sounds pretty good on paper, for
Yeah.
sure. But there are always compromises, especially down here. This balance really reflects a strategic prioritization, doesn't it? They're focusing on those headline features to hit that aggressive price tag.
Exactly. That's the game. The trade-offs include, as we discussed, the HD Plus resolution on that large screen, which impacts sharpness. The Unisoc T606 processor, sufficient, but definitely underpowered for demanding applications. That 2-megapixel secondary camera is largely, well, decorative.
For the aesthetic.
For the aesthetic. And as we highlighted, the lack of both 5G and NFC are significant omissions for future-proofing and convenience. Plus, that big question mark hanging over the software update policy linked directly to its ODM nature.
Right.
These aren't just minor technical details. They're direct consequences of HTC's strategic pivot to hit that aggressive sub-$100 price point. You get what you pay for, essentially.
Okay, let's talk about the real-world verdict then. User feedback. What are people actually saying about the Wildfire E5 Plus and maybe HTC's recent budget offerings in general?
Well, the early user feedback seems quite mixed, honestly. There's a kind of pragmatic acceptance given the price. Some users praise the camera, the battery life, the screen resolution as being commendable for the price.
So it meets expectations for the money.
Right? It indicates it delivers acceptable performance for its cost. However, there's also some pretty strong negative sentiment out there. You see comments describing these phones as rubbish or trash phones.
Wow, that's harsh. And that strong negative feeling isn't just about the specs necessarily, is it? It sounds like it might be connected to HTC's broader brand perception, maybe even a sense of disillusionment from people who remember the old HTC.
You've absolutely hit on a crucial point there. These strong negative sentiments often do reflect a broader disillusionment with where HTC is now. Historically, they were recognized for innovation, premium design, great software.
The glory days.
Yeah. Their present reliance on these, let's face it, generic ODM products for the budget series appears to have really diminished the brand's perceived value and excitement among some longtime enthusiasts or people who just remember the name. It really makes you think about how different companies define value in the budget segment, doesn't it? Is it specs per dollar, or is there still room for brand identity?
That's a great question. So to summarize the feedback.
Sure.
Common strengths people point out are the affordability, the large display, decent battery life, and acceptable camera performance for the price. On the flip side, common weaknesses are the perceived underpowered processor, the lack of NFC, that uncertain software support, and this broader brand perception issue where these phones just lack the innovation or quality feel of historical HTC devices.
Precisely. That captures the mixed bag quite well.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener, considering this phone? The HTC Wildfire E5 Plus is, objectively, a highly competitive entry in the ultra-budget segment, particularly if you're in one of those target emerging markets.
Yeah.
It seems well-suited for users prioritizing an affordable, reliable smartphone, mainly for essential daily tasks and some casual media consumption.
Absolutely. If you're very budget conscious and you prioritize a large screen, really long battery life, and a high megapixel camera number at an exceptionally low price, and if things like 5G or NFC just aren't critical for you right now,
Then it looks pretty good.
then the Wildfire E5 Plus does offer strong value on paper.
But, flip side, if you're a performance-oriented user, if you're expecting seamless performance for demanding apps, graphically intensive gaming, or you want cutting-edge features like 5G and NFC,
Then look elsewhere.
yeah, you should definitely be prepared to consider investing in a higher price bracket. This probably isn't the phone for you.
And just to reiterate, be mindful that HTC hasn't made any firm commitments on software updates for the Wildfire E5 Plus.
Right, the longevity question.
Exactly. This lack of clarity might affect the phone's usable lifespan, both in terms of getting major Android version upgrades and maybe even consistent security updates down the road.
Good point.
Also, while that 50-megapixel sensor number is impressive for the price, definitely temper your expectations for advanced photographic capabilities, especially in tricky lighting. And remember, that secondary 2-megapixel lens, it has very limited functional utility. It's mostly there for show.
Right, don't buy it thinking you're getting amazing dual camera versatility. So wrapping this up, what does HTC's strategic pivot to these ODM partnerships and these ultra-budget devices like the Wildfire E5 Plus really tell us about the shifting landscape of smartphone innovation and maybe the meaning of brand loyalty in today's fiercely competitive market? That's maybe a question worth pondering long after this deep dive.